Western movies have always been a favorite of mine ever since I was a very young kid. I remember my great grandfather that I would go to and stay with quite often. I would wake up in the morning, like at about 5 in the morning or so, and he'd be out in the living room watching the early show on WGN out of Chicago, uh, back when WGN was an independent station. They would show some of the old B westerns, like the old Johnny Wayne. Before John Wayne was a big star. He was in a lot of B westerns. One of the series he did was one called Singin' Sandy. He was a singing cowboy, and no, that wasn't John Wayne's actual voice that they used for Singin' Sandy. No, no, it wasn't. It was someone else. I don't remember right now the top of my head who. Uh, Westerns uh, movies go way back to the silent days. Of course, had of course one of the earliest films that's widely known as the first Western was in 1903, the Great Train Robbery, which most people consider the first movie to tell a story, which that's actually a fallacy because the year before that, Georges Méliès did A Trip to the Moon, which definitely told the story. There were movies before that that told the story. Also, the fact that the Great Train Robbery was considered the first Western, that's also not true. There was several very short movies made in the late 1800s and the early in 1900, from like 1896 to about 1900, that could also be considered westerns. The Cripple Creek Ballroom. Um, uh, what was the other one? Something by Indians, attacked by Indians or something like that. It was just you can look it up on YouTube. It's something, I guess, if you put in attacked by Indians or Shanghai, not Shanghai, that's more of a pirate movie. But anyway, it was um, just basically a lady comes off a stagecoach and she gets attacked by Indians and kidnapped. And then cowboys come. There's a bunch of, I guess they're shooting because there's a bunch of smoke, and then he grabs the girl and they're right off. The end. 1 minute. Bim bam boom. These were usually shown in penny arcades, and you like that? These were shown mostly in the penny arcades and I can't remember what it's called. Kinescope was TV. But anyway, you'd look down and drop a penny. Sometimes you'd have to you wind a crank. You'd look down in, and the cards would flip, and it would give the illusion of a movie of motion. And that was that. And then shortly after Great train robbery was made. One of the stars of that movie, a Bronco Billy Anderson, as he called himself, uh, he went on and made a name of himself, and he was one of the first cowboy actors. But one of the first real cowboy stars was none other than a guy by the name of Tom Mix. Now, Tom Mix, he was the first big star of the Western movies. He was known. He was an actual cowboy. He actually did some roping and writing and shit, and he made a name for himself and started out in many short two reelers, and that's what they had back then. Mostly the feature films, as it's known nowadays, didn't come around till around about 1914 with Tilly's Punctured Romance with Charlie Chaplin. Now that wasn't a Western, of course, but Tom did a bunch of short two reelers. They were kind of comical, but they were Westerns. They were kind of comical. And later on, some other Western silent Western stars came along. There was William S. Hart, Harry Carey, and several others. None quite as big as old. None quite as big as old Tom, though. None quite as big as old Tom. And William S. Hart, for my money, didn't really have a really great movie until Tumbleweeds, as far as I'm concerned. Tom did one of the first film adaptations of Riders of the Purple Sage, and that's why my ears are so much bigger than normal ears. This channel's kind of like having your grandfather sit in a living room with you talking about things. Just rambling on, and once in a while he'll break in the middle of the story and not remember what he was talking about. He'll just sit and pause. Grandpa would probably be drinking a lemonade, though. Knowing Grandpa. Sound came along in the 30s, and late 20s, early 30s. And, one of the first sound westerns was Arizona. Was about the Cisco Kid. I believe the actual title was In Old Arizona. as opposed to New Arizona. I didn't know what I was pausing there for. I had no idea. And B westerns, B western. What a B movie was a movie that was usually shown as the second part of a double bill. Or in the fancier theaters, they called it a double William. No, they didn't. It was total bullshit. They didn't say that. I didn't do that. Gosh, I've only been on here for 11 minutes and 22 seconds. Jesus Christ. I've got to come up with some more crap to fill a full half hour. Hold on. Well, we had this back in the day that westerns were all over, and we're the western dime novels. They were popular even before the movies. Of course, of reproduction. Then there were your Western comic books, filled with stories straight out of the B westerns with the stars of the Western movies. We got Dale Evans. We've got thank you. We've got Rex Allen. And, as you can see on the cover, there was Roy Rogers, Dale Evans, the Range Riders, Rex Allen, Johnny Mac Brown, and Buffalo Bill Jr. Wonderful. You'll shoot your eye out. It's not the right. This is the Daisy air rifle, and not the Red Ryder triple carbon action. Yada yada yada. Oh, and of course there were the Western serials on the radio and in the theater. Westerns were the kiddies' favorite thing back then. They'd line up around the block for the Saturday matinee to see their favorite Roy Rogers and Randolph Scott riding the trail alone. And Gene and Tex and Roy and Rex and the Durango Kid. But now, Tex Ritter's gone and Disney's dead and the screen's all filled with sex. And when TV came along, there was westerns were mostly for the kids. Mostly for the kids. You had the Roy Rogers show, the Gene Autry show, Annie Oakley, Buffalo Bill Jr., Judge Roy Bean, all this. Lone Ranger. Can't forget the Lone Ranger, who was that best man. Out of the West to charge the beat a hooves and charging guns and the mighty Heidi hi ho. I don't know. I don't know how it goes. Out of the past, charge it. Still don't know. This was a magazine that was out in the late 70s, early 80s, westerns and serials. It was talked about the old with lots of pictures from the old B westerns and the old western serials. Just I got a couple of issues that good old Norm sent me, Norman Kaiser, and that has nothing to do with westerns. And then, of course, there was reissues of some of the old comic books, but in black and white this time. But we got some more dime novels. And yeah, I love westerns. Leave in the comments below if, what your favorite westerns are. But mostly, like I was saying about TV, we get back to that, doing the grandpa thing again. Like I was saying about the westerns on TV, they were mostly for kids until 1950 something or other. Along came the first truly adult western, Gunsmoke. And that lasted for, oh goodness, a good 25 some odd years. I'm still got to fill up a lot of time on this. Don't know if I can do it. Westerns that were made in Italy are known as spaghetti westerns, done mostly by Sergio Leone. Stuff like the Clint Eastwood films with the Man with No Name. You'd think if he had no name, they wouldn't even say it wouldn't be Clint Eastwood stars as the Man with No Name. It would be this guy here stars as another dude with no name. I mean, keep the whole thing mysterious. The Man with No Name as himself, featuring Clint Eastwood. Back to westerns again, which we're supposed to be talking about in the first place. The first lunchbox for kids' school was kids' school lunches was Hopalong Cassidy. You know what Hopalong Cassidy did is what was his name? William Boyd, I believe. What he did, he was smart. He owned his own stuff. That way, he made money off of his movies and his TV show and everything that they licensed with his likeness on it. He was smart. He owned his brand. He was the first star that did that. Nowadays, you can find a lot of the old B westerns and big, huge box sets, with a whole bunch of movies in it. I was going to get up and show you, but I'm not going to. I'd have to stop the thing and do a thing and this thing and I think that's going to be my new thing on this channel. I'm going to stop in the middle of the video and complain that I'd have to do too much work, that I'm not prepared. You know what? A lot of the movies come in 50 packs with 50 movies, but this one I got, which is a compilation of two of the 50 packs, and it's 100 movies, and it's got stuff from 1931 on to about 1950, blah blah blah, and that's if it's put out by a company called Mill Creek, and shout out to Mill Creek. You guys did some really great movie packs. A lot of awesome stuff. Now, somebody send this video to Mill Creek, and maybe they can give me some free Western movie packs. That's the only reason I'm doing it. No, that's not. It would be nice, but I don't think it works that way, because the Beach Boys tried it by calling themselves the Pendletons, and hoping they get free Pendleton shirts, but I don't think that worked for them. I really don't. Oh wow, we get to hear the noise from outside. This is fun. Trying to fill a whole half an hour with my knowledge about the subject that I don't know shit about. Louis L'Amour wrote a lot of the Hopalong Cassidy novels. Did you know that? Dada humor here. The art of nothing. Then Western movies back in the 70s, it took a kind of turn, and there was several very very adult westerns. One of the most adult western was called, oddly enough, A Dirty Western. There were the Ramrodder, Indian Raid, Indian Maid, There was then, of course, HBO when it came along. Well, 20 years after it came along, they had their own adult western called Deadwood. Hey, look, Ma, no head. Um, and we're running down the time now, folks. That's all we're doing. We're just sitting here running down the time. I think I covered silent westerns, western dime novels, and the story papers, radio westerns, TV westerns, adult westerns. Oh yes, I forgot to mention adult western novels. Long Arm, Jake Logan, Johnny Wiener. I don't know. I can only remember Long Arm right off the top of my head. If you're interested in any of the things I've been talking about, and you want to know more about it, because I was very vague and gave you a very little bit, basically not even smaller than a capsule, um, capsule, that kind of like cool whip. Um, a You can always go online and look up, or you can be old fashioned like me and go to your library. A library is a large building with books in it. These are books. They have these are called pages, and they have words. The words are in forms of sentences. The sentences make up paragraphs. Paragraphs, and page in chapters, and they make a whole Bob damn story. But you could go to your library and look up things, and they have nonfiction books. Now, nonfiction mean it's true, supposedly. Fiction means it's made up. Closed caption for millennials. Well, folks, we're coming. Oh, I'm sure somebody's going to get all butthurt in the comments about that. Let's see what happens if I just sit here. If I sit here, if I just sit here, will you sit with me and forget what we were talking about? This has been Reverend Elvis P. Monroe signing off. Praise Bob. Till next time, when my topic will be